Hello, welcome back, and today we're going to do something quite a bit different than what I normally do. My wife's been wanting to get into bicycling for a little while, and she finally found this little gym. It's in really good shape. I mean, other than what is messed up with it, it looks basically brand new. It looks like it has very low usage, but it does have some issues. She picked it up at the Goodwill. She gave 35 bucks for it, so I think we got something that we can fix up here and get to going without having to buy any parts. Everything looks like it's here. Nothing looks broken. Both tires are completely flat, so I don't even know if the tubes hold air. This tire is actually going backwards. The handlebars and the front tire are completely crooked from one another. So that's all got to be lined back up. Looks like the derailleurs move and they work. Whether or not they'll change the gears properly, that's going to remain to be seen. So if we need to adjust all that, I'll show you guys how to adjust that. I got some cable work here to do. That looks like it's for the rear brake. And yeah, overall just go over it and get it lubed up and ready for her to ride, so make it something that's reliable. It's not going to break down on her when she's out on the trail. So with that, first thing we're going to do is get some air in these tires and make sure that they hold air. Alright, we'll go ahead and start with the front tire. Before I do that, I guess I should think about turning the tire around. So I should bring you in on a close-up. So like I said, the front tire is actually on backwards, so we're going to flip that around real quick. We have a quick release down over here that I'll show you in a moment, but first thing we're going to do is disconnect the brake. And I think these are called cantilever brakes. So pretty much all you do is push it all the way over and clear the cable out. It has a opening right here. So you put that and it just holds it like that. Then you got your boot dust cover. So pull that off, push the brake lever over, and now you can release your brake. And you can take the tire off. So, and if you come down here on this side, there's a quick release and your thumb screw. I'm going to have to stand up and lift the tire off the bicycle. Alright, this one has the safeties on it, so you have to unscrew that pretty far. And we'll flip the tire around. And reassemble. Alright, so what we're going to go for here is, let me show you. We've got this lever here. This is going to allow us to remove the tire without tools. So I'm setting the nut on the opposite side of the fork. And what you want to do is you want to get it to where you have a nice tight rollover. This is actually cammed, so the further you pull it, the tighter it pulls. Draws up, so not quite tight enough for my liking. And let's keep doing that until we get it to where it feels tight, but nothing too crazy. Alright, that's a little bit too tight, so I'll back the nut off on this side. And that feels pretty good right there. Tire back on, we can reconnect the brake. Alright, it's back in the groove and reconnect the dust boot. Alright. So now we're going to find the stem. We're going to pull the stem up and out. And we're going to make sure it's completely perpendicular with the rim. We don't want it at any kind of an angle. So let's go ahead and attempt to put air in here. And with any luck, these tubes will hold air. Alright, pumping it up, pumping it up. And right now it's at right around 10 psi. 80 psi. And that is nice and solid. Let's see if it holds some air. Alright. Tires appear to be holding air. I went ahead and aired up the back tire. And this will straighten out these handlebars. So this is the gooseneck here. This is the handlebar clamp. The screw right here in the center of the gooseneck, this is what holds it tight into the forks. So I'm loosening that up, and as you can see, now that's nice and loose. And they even ran the cable on the wrong side of the. They even ran the cable on the wrong side of the handlebar. That's nice. So it's not going to allow me to raise it up very much. Right now the goal is just getting it straight. And I'm just looking down the gooseneck and lining it up with the front tire. Kind of holding it with my toe as I adjust it. So yeah, that's going to irritate me about these cables. I'm going to have to get them on. They're going to have to go on the right side. That's hideous. I think what we have here is a really nice bike, but someone who just didn't know how to take care of it, and someone who didn't know how to put it together. All right, so now we're going to level these out. They were kind of at some wonky angle like this, so get these leveled out. And we'll re-tighten the clamp. So now the clamp is tight, and the gooseneck is tight, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Alright, I used to be into cycling, pretty hot and heavy. Kind of got out of it. Yeah, I just kind of got out of it. Kind of like a Forrest Gump thing. I did it until I didn't do it anymore. And I actually had a bike I put 28,000 miles on. It was actually it was a Trek. It was a road bike. I did enjoy it while I was doing it, but like I said, I did it till I couldn't do it no more. Alright, so I was going to try to take it out here, but that ain't going to work. I'm going to disassemble the cable out of the brake lever down here. And then I'm going to put it where it's supposed to be. Alright. And that also means we're going to have to readjust the brakes. Yeah, it's kind of weird, some of the stuff you see. The way people think things are put together. Yeah, it's just kind of weird. Right now, I'm just going to set it where it was, and we'll do a final adjustment. So I want to spin the wheel, make sure the rim's not bent and dragging on the brake anywhere. So I will do all that. Yeah, it needs to be adjusted big time. It's not even grabbing, but that's no big deal. Alright, so that's looking pretty good. Got this on the front side where it needs to be. Looks like we're going to have to do the same thing for the rear brake, so let me go ahead and get set up for that. Alright, so here's my rear brake. Go ahead and take the cable off. And we're going to remove it out of the lever. And this one here has going to be a little bit harder. Okay. So this one's here actually has some lines that the cable goes through. And here and here. And that's going to present its own issues, I guess. Let me see if I might have to disconnect this one from up here. No way around it. Here's the cable inside here. We have to get it out of that holder. And to do that, have to There's the cable right there. Alright, so I loosened up the brake just so you can kind of see what's going on with the cable. Since the back of the cable is already put together and everything's clamped in, I would have to disassemble all that to pull the cable all the way through, because it has two lugs that hold the cable to the frame. So I decided to disconnect it up here. And the way this works is you have your lever. You have this bracket that has a hole and a slot in it, and that's where your cable slides in. Then it comes in and out like that. So the cable itself, with the lead baller at the end of it, it's too fat to fit through the lever, so you have this slot. Everything falls into that slot, and then here a slot as well. Put everything back in there, and now you turn this over. And this is actually your brake adjustment. So for right now, I'm going to run that all the way in. And with that run all the way in, I'm going to pull the cable up here, and get the cable up there. Now I have to, let's see here, that's for the shifter lever, and of course that's yeah, whoever put this bike together, yeah, they had some special issues. Wow. So the cable was actually not in the right place either. All right, so I'm gonna have to. Looks like I'm gonna have to take the shifter off to fix this one before I can put the brake cable back on. Yeah, so I might as well just go ahead and get on that right now. Alright, so to fix everything I need to fix, whoever put these cables on, they did a terrible job. So this cable is supposed to be inside of this cable and come in right here. So right now the cables are crossed. So that's a pain in the butt. So I'm going to have to take this shifter off. And this is the shifter for the front derailleur. And in order to do that, I got to take the grips off. Alright, the grips is off, and I have these spacers here. I can't lose them. And now I'm going to remove the shifter. Find the screw. This one here. And slide the shifter off. Up and around, and then loosen the brake lever. Alright, I gotta loosen the brake lever. I think that's actually gonna go. It's gonna be better if it goes under, because now like this. I got my indicator here, and I can see the indicator to help me figure out which gear I'm in. So I'm just going to snug that for right now. Now I got to fix this cable. Put this grip back on. Alright, put the grip back on. Alright, so I got the grip off, and we're going to do the same thing. And there is just a screw right here in the back side of this gear selector. I'm going to show it to you. So there's the screw right there. This is the screw I'm loosening to take this off. And now I'm going to get this where it needs to be. Bring it around on the outside. So when I pin everything back, that'll be like so. Nice and clean. Still going to do this one here. Let's get that set up right now before go any further. That's going to go here like so. Go like so. This is going to go like so. Alright, so I think that's about what we're looking for. Got all the cables out in front. Nothing wrapped up around the handlebar anymore. So go ahead and get the grip back on, and we're going to set all the locations here. Put my two spacers on. Alright, that's good. Now there's an arrow right here. I just have the arrow up at the top. And the set screws right here. Now that's tight. And we're going to do the same thing over here. You got a screw, set screw right here. Loosen it up. Bring it over. Kind of how the arrows line up. One arrow here, one arrow here. Just want them to line up, just to take care of any OCD I may have inherited. And now the lever, put that back. Drop the wrench, because that's what we do. We drop everything now. Done with it. Yeah, well, I'll leave it for now. I might have to adjust these levers and to fit her hand. I mean, that feels good for me, but I got a lot bigger hands than she has. Alright, all this is back in order. Alright, so I'm going to shut you off for a second and get set up to reconnect the rear brake. So, cable, pull everything tight. That's good. My lever, take my dust boot off. Put that in there. Cable situated. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and snug this down. And we're still going to have to make an adjustment. Alright, so that is snug down. I'm going to spin the tire, see if I get any drag. Yes, we have drag. So we're going to loosen this up and let this open up a little bit. Check for drag. Yep, there's a drag yet. That rim might be a little bit bent. I don't think it's enough for me to be concerned about. I don't think I have a spoke tool anymore. I think my spoke tool is gone. Hear all that popping. My neighbor's getting a new roof today. it go there. Okay, so now for the front. Go ahead and loosen. And we're going to squeeze. Alright, first I'm going to go ahead and make sure that's in there because that's going to mess our adjustment up. Let's snug it right there. I'm going to check it. Wow. I think that's going to be actually pretty good right there. So with that, I guess I'll just go ahead and lock it down. Well, actually, we got a little bit of a drag. We do have a little bit of a drag. I'm going to go ahead and loosen that up a bit. Alright. Feels good. Alright, so let's see if these derailleurs are going to work. Alright, that's on 3. That's on 2. Alright. That's back to 1. That actually looks like they're working. So much easier when I had my stand. Alright, just back on 3. Wow. So it looks like it's going to drag a little bit on 3. And a little bit. It's rubbing a little bit. So what I'm going to have to do is adjust these screws right here to take care of that drag. Alright, so nothing more irritating than listening to the chain rub the derailleur while you're riding along. So we're going to go ahead and make this adjustment. First we have to loosen up the nut. Okay, now that the nut is loose and the cable is just kind of, it's still taut but it's not tight. It's going to allow me to make an adjustment on this. It's still too tight. Alright, there it goes. Alright, so I'm pushing over, and as you push over, it also lifts up. And now I'm going to tighten the nut back up. Alright, first speed looks good. It is riding right in the middle, the chain and the derailleur, so there's going to be no rubbing there. Go ahead and back in 3rd speed. Looks good. Right in the middle, no rubbing there. And let's try 2nd speed. Second really don't matter, because if it rubs, all you have to do is click it once and you're good to go. So second speed looks good. So now we got now that we got the first, not the first, but the front derailleur set up, now we got to see if the rear one works. So right now the rear one is in high gear, number 7. So let's see what we look like. I'm going to click it to 6. And it went to 6. I'll zoom in a little bit. Alright, I'll click it to 5. Oh, daggone. It went to 5. So this is a bike's turning out to be in really good shape. 4. 3. Okay. 2. And 1. Oh wow, look at that. So the rear derailleur is in good shape. Nothing to do there. Nothing to see. But since we're here, if we were going to make an adjustment here, this is our cable. It's pretty much the same thing. Got the nut. I would loosen up the nut, pull the cable tight, and over the years I found some bikes like to be set up on first gear, some bikes like to be set up on second gear. You can do it either way you want, it's your own personal preference. Then after you get that set, you can get the little fine tuner. You screw in and out. That will do fine tuning adjustments on the derailleur to keep it centered up on the sprocket. So I am happy about that. This has some kind of weird funky plug on it. Leave that on there. I see what it is. I think it's a silly thing, but we'll leave it. Alright, so I found one more issue before we get onto the seat. So take the handlebars and kind of lift up on them. There's like a play in here. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. So what that is the spacing on the bearings in this gooseneck are too loose. So you got the locking nut here, which was finger loose when I checked it, and then you have the adjusting nut underneath of it. So we're going to go ahead and snug this nut up. Until all that play is gone. You don't want to get it too tight because you don't want to grind your bearings. You don't want no play in there either. So that has eliminated play. Now, screw the locking nut back on here. And I don't have any flat wrenches, so I'm going to tighten just the top nut to lock it, and hopefully the bottom nut doesn't spin with it, which it's not, so we are in good shape there. Now we have eliminated that play. That is nice and solid. Alright, so now we're going to adjust this seat, and these are the 2 nuts that we're going to mess with, so I'll go ahead and get them loose. So what you're going to want on your seat is, you're really going to want the seat level. My wife's not home, so I can't set it up exactly how it's going to feel for her, but I do know we're going to start off with the seat being level. Go ahead and get this in. Go ahead and give that a clamp, and get you better. Go ahead and clamp this in. You can kind of see that the nose of the seat is pointing up, so that is what we're going to fix. we're gonna loosen these up. And we have knurling in here, so the nose of our seat actually has to go down, and you have to loosen these up quite a bit, you know, to clear the knurling. So all right, so that looks pretty good about right there. That looks nice and level. So I'm going to clamp that down here. Another adjustment we can make is forward and backwards, so it'll move the seat either back or forward in relationship to the seat post. This one looks kind of far back. I might slide it a hair forward and just kind of get it in the middle. This adjustment's not real crucial. You can adjust that, you know. It's kind of hard to adjust for someone who's not here. But I'm going to guess right there. That's right in the middle. Alright. Now we're going to tighten the seat up. Might as well line up the reflector. Make it nice and straight. So, get our reflector straight and tighten up these nuts. And this has a cool little shock absorber in the seat post. So, all right, and we're going to slide this in. Still loose. Alright, so to set your seat height, what you want to do is you want to get your butt on the seat flat. Stick your heel on the pedal. Have your butt in the saddle and kind of have your knee slightly bent, probably about like that. Not fully extended, but just slight bend. Then that way when you're up on your toes, you'll be where you need to be. That's the best way to get in the ballpark for getting your seat set to the right height. See so many people riding bikes and the seat's too low, and yeah, they're miserable. You shouldn't be able to sit on the seat and have your feet flat on the ground. If you can do that, the bike is too small for you. So if you're in the seat, sitting on your butt, probably should be at least up on your toes. So if you can flat foot it while you're sitting on the seat with the ground, either your seat's too low or the bike's too small. So that's my 2 cents on that. It's just my opinion. Everybody has their own opinion on seat height. The foot always seemed to have worked for me. Alright, I think this thing here is good to go minus the test ride. So. Alright, before we go on a ride, I can go ahead and I can zip up these cables, get all that stuff in check, get it cleaned up. Alright,